Solaris, 1972. Solaris. Ground Control has been receiving bizarre transmissions from the three remaining residents of the Solaris space station. When cosmonaut and psychologist Chris Kelvin is sent to investigate, he too experiences the strange phenomena afflicting the Solaris crew, sending him on a voyage to the darkest recesses of his own conscience. In Solaris, a legendary Russian filmmaker Andrei Tarkovsky creates a brilliantly original science fiction epic that challenges our perceived notions of love, truth, and humanity itself. 169 minutes, color in black and white monorail in Russian with optional English subtitles. Yes, the first ever Russian movie that I've seen, because I have seen Swedish, French, Japanese, of course, English, and I think even maybe a Brazilian, and of course British films, but never a Russian film. This is definitely, some have compared this to 2001 A Space Odyssey, and well, there are certain moments of it, of like pondering one's own life, interacting with like a computer, that one could also take the same motif and apply it to hallucinations or mirages and things like that. I got some of that, but I also got influence. I also know some inspiration from Vertigo, of all things. So I'm just going to read the liner notes, so this may be a little bit of a lengthy video, just so you're aware, okay? Just skip it whenever you want. Andrei Tarkovsky belongs to a small handful of filmmakers, Dreyer, Bresson, Vigo, Tati, who with a small concentrated body of work created a universe. Though he only made 7 features, thwarted by Soviet censors and then by cancer, each honored his ambition to crash to the surface of ordinary life and find a larger spiritual meaning, to heal modern art's secular fragmentation by infusing it with metaphysical dimension. To that end, he rejected Einsteinian montage and developed a demanding long-take aesthetic, which he thought would better able to reveal a deeper truth underlying the ephemeral performing moment. Since Tarkovsky is portrayed as a lonely martyr genius, we do well to place him in a wider context, as most renowned of an astonishing generation: Larissa Shapiko, Alexei German, Andrei Kochalovsky, Sergei Parajev, Otar Escalante, which affected a dazzling short-lived renaissance of Soviet cinema. All had censorship problems. In the early 1970s, Tarkovsky was unable to get approval for a script which was considered too personal, obscure, proposed a film adaptation of Stanislaw Lem's novel Solaris, thinking it would stand a better chance of being green-lighted by the commissioners, as science fiction seemed more objective and accessible to the masses. His hunch paid off. Solaris took the grand jury at Cannes, took the grand jury prize at Cannes. Tarkovsky had arrived on the world stage with the most straightforward, accessible work. While hardly a conventional film, Solaris is a less long take-driven and stands as a fulcrum in Tarkovsky's career. Behind him was his impressive debut, Ivan's Childhood, and his first epic masterpiece, Andrei Rublev. Ahead of him lay The Mirror, brilliantly experimental and yes, personal, obscure, and Stalker, a great, somber, difficult work, and finally 2 interesting, lyrical, meditative pictures he made in exile, Nostalgia and The Sacrifice. He died shortly after completing this last film in 1986 at age 54. We know that Tarkovsky has seen Kubrick's 2001 disliked it as cold and sterile. The media played up the Cold War angle of the Soviet director's determination to make an blah 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 blah, just a whole bunch of stuff. This would take way too long. Okay, in like 2001, however, Solaris is saturated in grief, which grips the film even before it leaves Earth. In this moody prelude, we see the protagonist, a space psychologist named Chris Kelvin, staring at water reeds as they were drowned. Woman's tresses, played by the stolid Donatas Bananos, a German A Russian Glenn Ford with a 5 o'clock shadow and a shock of prematurely white hair. Here's a word for you. Troper. Torpor. Let's see. Humans seem enthralled to machinery and TV images cut off from the nature surrounding them. Underwater reads a thoroughbred horse, a farm dog. And there's hunting shots of freeways. Tarkovsky disdains showing any but contemporary cars, just as Goddard did in with the buildings in Alphaville. Why bother clothing the present world in sci-fi garb where the estranged future has already arrived? Let's see. As played by the lovely Natalia Bondarchuk, this eternal feminine is the opposite of a femme fatale. All clinging fidelity and frightened vulnerability. We learn the real Harry billed herself with a poison Chris had unthinkingly left behind when he left her. The hallucinated Hari II, featuring Chris, does not love her, takes liquid oxygen, and bills herself as well. By the time Hari III appears, Chris will do anything to redeem himself. So, helped initiate a genre that become an art house staple. The drama of grief and partial recovery. Watching this 169-minute work is like okay, blah blah blah. Yeah. This film that Solaris most resembles thematically is not 2001, but Hitchcock's Vertigo. The inability of the male to protect the female, the multiple disguises or resurrections of this loved one, and the inevitability of repeating past mistakes. Let's see. We see her body horrifically. Tarkovsky peppers the dialogue with heady arguments about reality, identity, humanity, and sympathy. Buttressed by references to civilizations and linchpins, Bach, Tolstoy, Dostoevsky, Goethe, Virgil, Luther, and Cervantes. The Soviet censors who mandated the filmmakers remove the concept of God may have been mauled by the essence of the G word, but Tarkovsky took the standard science fiction theme of spaceman and established contact with other forms of intelligence and elevated implicitly to contact with the divinity. The planet's ocean grants sentient powers. So, it's just a whole bunch of stuff. This movie really is something else. And hang on a minute. So yeah, very specifically, this is one where it feels where there's the black and white going on, and then the white. The black and white as if to say like some of the events that were going on, but also how one feels kind of empty and void, and then the color, of course, which is beautiful on this space station. There's the shots that, yeah, there were some shots very specifically. The alternation between colored black and white conveys something of this ontological instability, while the jittery camera explorations over shelves and walls suggest a seizure. Wanders around as if she had epilepsy, and later we see her body perfectly jerking at the threshold, not being. A gorgeous, serene, floating sequence when Chris and Harry lose gravity offers another stylized representation of this transcendence borderline. So, it's just, again, just a movie, just a whole bunch of stuff, just like the way how humanity is, and how there's just this ocean above that Solaris that just makes projections and like stuff that we know is all about like regret and identity and just all the stuff that we've endured in the past and stuff like that. That makes you think. It's how I feel about the runtime. 169 minutes. Every single minute felt purposeful because of the story being told. Well, there's this gargantuan ocean that this cosmonaut describes about, like how his kind of was hallucinatory in his mind, and there is no LSD mushrooms in this movie. I will say that. So if you want to, it's like just this ocean that seems sentient, but isn't going to say like top of the morning to you, but instead how one has like an encephalogram, or it takes these memories, and then this ocean can somehow just read our minds and create these images, holograms, if you will, and it just like what happens, it really does stand out. And the crew members aboard know exactly what's going on, and they've kind of adapted to the way of living. So it's just the long takes just make this feel surreal, and like it's happening right then and there. Some of them lasting upwards of 5 minutes, 3 to 5 minutes roughly, I would say. That is one of his signatures, and you just look at it, and because the minimalism that's happening on screen, you pay attention to it, and it's just like so real, so confronting, and getting conflicted with your own past, and ultimately just the changes that one makes and one should make and hopefully will make. It's one of those contemplative, I wouldn't even, it's not poetical, lyrical. It's just a, I guess, melancholic way of how one can view the world, and just all the decisions and regrets that one can make, you know. There is some of the, like, Faustian, like, making a deal with the devil, you know. I have not read Faust by Goethe, but I can, or Tolstoy. I don't know about any of that stuff. I get the general concept, but that would probably just go on, like, more about the decisions and choices and everything else that we do, you know. So, the interiors are gosh darn fantastic. The space station, which already looks derelict enough as it is, but there's still 2 people on it, just makes it feel. It just makes it feel like, you know, it's kind of homely. But when there were 85 people that were on this space station and now only 3 remain, it's just absolutely insane. It's not gritty. It's lifelike, like kind of like 2001, but there's not like any legendary ending where it's just matte painting after matte painting going towards the center. It's just pretty much just this giant ocean that's down there, and how it just affects everything, man. It's a sight to see. The visuals are indeed a sight to see. The performances are fantastic. Just, even though it's stoic, just the minimalism to convey the emotion in the eyes, the mouth, and anger and everything works so darn well, because there are like 5 people that are aboard this ship, you know. It's just absolutely great. And it's just the dialogue, the minimalism, the scenes all make this great. I mean, I'm really gushing about this movie. I mean, this really is probably one of the greatest sci-fi movies of all time. And, you know, it's indeed something that what was his name? Stanley Kubrick. I forgot how he reacted to Tarkovsky's reaction to 2001, but I would like to say this is kind of more of a different, it's more emotional, more pulsating, I guess is the word. Minimally pulsating. When it pulsates, it fits so gosh darn well, you know. So, yeah, this movie is not for everyone. If you want action, spectacular explosions, and loud sound effects, this movie is not for you. This is a quiet, meditative. That's the word. This is a quiet, meditative movie that will make you think, that will make you ponder things about the cosmos, your place in the universe, and romance and things like that. And like I said, it's almost 3 hours long. Titanic, Avengers Endgame, King Kong 2005, these movies are all over 3 hours long. But that had a lot of razzle dazzle. This movie is just very meditative, and I guess more minimalistic set wise and things like that. So, yeah, I mean, I really do think you need to see this, because it's like when I said, it's also kind of influenced the anime movie Angel's Egg, in the sense of these long takes. So there's just this fire burning 2 characters. Eventually the fire gets extinguished, and at the very end we zoom out and we see a giant arc that's overturned. And this ending, also in the ending of this movie, also has kind of a similar thing. I will eventually get to reviewing that one, but this one's just absolutely incredible. Truly a masterpiece of filmmaking. So I really, if you want to see an art house movie, I recommend that you watch Solaris.